So their diminutive captain, Jeff Tuvey, leads them out. At 1.5 hours from now, they might again be in a grand final. There's the team: Ridgemore, Innes, Hill, Hopewadi, Kosef, Tuvey, Cunningham, Gardner, Menzies, Carroll, Sidaris, Gillespie. Their coach, of course, is the national coach, Bob Fulton. That man will play a very important part, Jim Sidaris. And here they come, in quest of their very first rugby league title. And they're here from the south side of Sydney, from the Sutherland Shire. The all-conquering Cronulla Sutherland. Peachy, Rogers, Ettinghausen, Donaghy, Barnett and Healy, Green, Nicow, Long, Pearce, Davidson, Treaster and Greenhill. It's the same side as last weekend. John Lang is their coach. David Peachy, the fullback. Steve Roach on the sidelines. This has really got a nice smell about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, plenty of atmosphere, even more so than the last couple of weeks. Manly will have the breeze behind them in the first half. We're talking to a couple of the Manly officials earlier. Pretty simple game plan from them early in the first 20 minutes. They want to match the enthusiasm of this Cronulla Sharks side, and then on will come Cliffy Lyons to weave his magic. Manly for mine, but I haven't been that good in tipping over the last couple of weeks.
Please don't apologise. Manly then from right to left. They have proven to be Cronulla Sutherland's nemesis in 2 grand finals and in the finals last year. And the second elimination semi-final is underway. Cronulla from left to right. And Davidson is the forward elected to bring it away from beneath the uprights. Treaster is the number 9, the dummy half. 8 is Greenhill, playing prop forward. There because of Danny Lee. Still out suspended. Treaster is on the 20-metre line. Beautiful day in Sydney as Green scoops it up from dummy half and gets it just beyond the 30-metre line. And then it's away with Barnett, the winger, who gets very close to the 40-metre line before he's tidied up there by Owen Cunningham. Now into the hands of Healy and off the right boot of Healy. You'll see plenty of that today. He's the man expected to put the pinpoint bombs up that will see the air raids from Cronulla on Manly. This is John Hopewadi, who'll be under many of those bombs as this match unfolds.
Last week we saw Cronulla explode out of the blocks. They were very good in the first 10 or 15 minutes to set up a 12-0 lead. We're hoping to do the same thing this afternoon. And they don't get beaten by big margins in matches. They're always involved in close games. They've lost 6 games this year. The biggest losing margin, 8 points.
Mark Carroll now with a surge for Manly that finds him just outside the 40-metre line as he plays it back to his captain, who runs a lot from dummy half. And he's a very good runner of the ball out of there. So the markers for Cronulla are going to have to be alert all day long as Ridge puts a kick in that bounces nicely for young Peachy. He takes it confidently. He's waving players around him. The youthful Matt Rogers is taken down by Cunningham inside the 20. So now Barnett, Kiwi representative, playing on the left wing, and Terry Hill manhandles him. Green, the dummy half now. Pearce, biggest match he's played in, Andrew. And it'll be good to get a touch of the football for players like him and Peachy, who you saw, Rogers, Nicow. Oh, Ettinghausen picked off in a good tackle by Innes. And Cronulla having trouble getting it beyond their own 20-metre line as Nathan Young puts a bit of starch into it. 5 tackles gone now. As he plays the ball, they come down the blind side for Healy's kick. The charge down finds Gardner clutching his shoulder. He got the boot of Healy. Ridge goes back. They came up with the ball in good field position, Manly. They're tackled on the first, on the halfway line. Hill has gone to dummy half. This is Kosef now. They play at first receiver a lot in this game, particularly while Lyons is not on the park. Cunningham right in the centre of the ground. Gillespie with a run that takes him 7 metres. Back for Sidaris. Now there's 4 defence players out of it now as Cunningham takes it inside the 40-metre line. Nothing eventuated. Tuvey gets a pass away, and then it's on from Kosef for Hill. Hill steps nicely. That ankle looked okay then. He's 22 metres out from the line. Tuvey now, looking around for Ridge. Here's Ridge back on the inside. Sedaris down the blind side, beats the tackle of Treaster. Then they use Danny Moore. Moore is tackled 10 metres out. 5 tackles gone. As Tuvey goes to dummy half, they come across for Kosef to push it on. Ridge then puts in the kick. It's a grubbing kick. Matt Rogers came up from the deep and he took it beautifully, young Rogers, to be tackled 12 metres out.
And not a great kick there from Matthew Ridge, but they look pretty good early, the Eagles. Some good interchange of passing, some breaks made down the right-hand side of the field. The defence has been very good too, very hard. And just the fact that Terry Hill is out there, all the Manly players know how hard he's worked during the week to get on the field, and that'll lift them.
Davidson with an offload. Treaster there in support. As it's played then, and Peachy from dummy half works it on the right of the ground, and Pearce has taken in another solid Manly tackle. There's plenty of fire in the Manly defence as Healy gets another kick away. The breeze is against them in the first half. Danny Moore now coming away from the right wing, coming away from the touchline, and tackled on his own 40-metre line. Terry Hill is met there by Barnett and put down. So the second tackle for Manly. And here's Tuvey again going from dummy half, third time in the game.
As you point out, Tuvey loves running from dummy half, especially with the big men at marker. That time, Les Davidson a little bit slow to react. Cunningham takes it 45 out centre field. Kosef to the left-hand side of the ruck.
Kosef across and showing it in one hand before it went to Ridge, and then Innes, and now with Ridge again. And Ridge tackled, the ball touched the ground, so he's been made to play it. Then Sedaris gets in a kick, and it's back for the fullback, David Peachy, to come out of the shadows and away from the 20-metre line to be ridden into the ground by Carroll. Menzies is playing in the headgear as they go across now to the left of the ground for Tawira Nikau. Outstanding performer in their match last weekend. Now, the blonde-headed second row is Nathan Long, taken down by Sedaris and by Owen Cunningham. No score, 5 minutes gone in this one, the big one, the elimination semi-final that'll see one of these teams go through to play St George next Sunday.
And the first mistake made in the game, Les Davidson got a pretty good pass away as Matthew Ridge up the centre of the ruck. David Peachy unable to capitalise on the Davidson pass.
Still no penalties in the game as we go down past the 6th minute. And this is Innes, who's been a star performer for Manly right through 1996. Kosef gets inside the tackle of Eddinghausen, but Matt Rogers is proving very strong on the right wing. Sedaris then gives it to Carroll. I thought Carroll was running a decoy. He came back towards the play the ball area. Sedaris for Kosef, and then Tuvey. Outside him, Owen Cunningham. He ran the decoy. Menzies is with it. He's inside the 20-metre line, tackled by Nikau. Also involved was Paul Green. There, the ball is away now for Tuvey's kick, and it's the high kick across the ground. Rogers knocks on. This will be a very interesting scrum for Manly. They'll have the loose head on the feed, 10 metres out.
He really didn't have a good play on that ball, Matt Rogers. There's a lot of traffic around. Jim Sedaris looking to knock the ball back to his teammates. Rogers got the touch. No more dangerous attacking option than the midfield scrum. Great chance here for the Sea Eagles.
So Tuvey working with Hill. 9 metres out centre of the ground. Gutner. Daniel Gutner. Sedaris decides to have a go. He's over, and he's got it down. There's the first try, is it? He's ruled bounced. He's ruled lost in goal.
David Manson ruled a knock on in goal. Cliff Lyons looks on. They take it out from their own 20-metre tap line, but, well, some drama here early.
Gee, did everything right, didn't he, Sedaris, except get the ball down. He wriggled and rolled, beat 2 and 3 defenders, found the space, got over the line. Looked as though it was a try, but no doubt from the referee. Cronulla go wide through Healy. Nikau again scouting out wide.
Now Donaghy gets his first touch of the ball. Oh, Davidson got an awful pass.
It's the second mistake for Les Davidson. I think Manly are doing a tremendous job in defence, especially in their half of the field. Here's the replay of the try. Sedaris, a quick call by David Manson. Yep, he lost that ball on his way over the line. Didn't even refer to his in-goal touch, Judge. You can beg all you like, Jimmy, but they're not going to give you that one. Manly are doing a terrific job in defence in Cronulla's half. Cronulla get a lot of penalties coming out of trouble with their quick play of the balls, and Manly are making a real concerted effort not to concede penalties in Cronulla's end of the field. If they can make Cronulla play out their full 5 tackles and kick without giving away penalty, that's going to keep them out of bomb zone and take Healy and these big kicks out of the game.
Innes nearly gets through. Did I see a Cronulla hand?
I was just going to say, Peter, Manson, I think, could have given a penalty there for the ball being raked out as Sedaris went over the line. I'm almost positive there was a Cronulla hand raking the ball out whilst attempting the tackle. Gillespie works it away for Cunningham, and he's pulled down by Eddinghausen on the 20-metre line. Now Sedaris. Over the head of Carroll, very wide for Kosef, and then for Menzies. And Menzies was met there by Healy and Donaghy. Just outside the 20-metre line, Ridge thinks about going down the blind side. Terry Hill appeals for a penalty, then goes into dummy half on the last tackle. It's into Kosef's hands and off his left boot. Not a good kick. Up they go. Came down from Manly, picked up by Cronulla, and they're on the 20-metre line. They're own into the ground with Peachy.
It's funny how things work out. Cliffy Lyons sitting on the bench, and Manly have had a lot of play at this end of the field. Probably an 8 or 10 minute period where you would have liked to have Cliffy Lyons in possession of the ball close to the Cronulla line. But that's the way plans work out sometimes.
There's Barnett now. 38 metres out from his own line. A lot of Manly players are being caught in the play-the-ball area. I'm surprised Manson hasn't dealt out a penalty at this point in time. You've got to make some effort to get up and get away out of the play-the-ball area, and you mustn't slow the other team down by being there. That hasn't quite happened. Healy then got a dubious pass, has to sweep it back in. Greenhill was offside, put himself back onside, puts in the kick, and it's out on the full. So the charge down pressure on Healy continues.
Tremendous work from Nick Kosef. Kept chasing. Mitch Healy threw the ball back inside. The pressure on the Cronulla kickers has been quite good. I think you'll see Manly try and aim their attack at Paul Donaghy. Last week, Steve Renouf got on the outside a couple of times. We've seen Terry Hill beat him once this afternoon. Penalty here, Matthew Ridge a chance to put on the first points.
In the meantime, Gillespie's got a problem for Manly. He's been down for a few seconds now. He looked at the trainers, and he's hunched over back on the 40-metre line. David Gillespie, a problem there.
I suppose the difference between Manly with Cliff Lyons and without is that the fact that Lyons always runs to the line to weave his magic, whereas Nick Kosef prefers mainly to stand and pass the long balls. And the Manly players warming up there: Jack Elswood, Craig Hancock, Neil Tierney, Des Hasler, Lyons as well.
David Boughton has been on there for a few minutes now. He took the place of the number 9, I fancy.
I think he was actually the player that raked the ball out of Sedaris when he went over.
And here's Ridge from almost right in front, 25 metres out, and it sails between the uprights. So the first points are on the board to Manly. They lead Cronulla 2-0 at the 11th minute. Healy coming back to the halfway line for the restart. Second time we've been here today. And Healy's kick is of the low variety. Carroll it is coming back. Australian representative, one of several. Gillespie tackled on the second tackle for Manly as they put the ball around between the forwards, short passing, and Menzies was 42 metres out from his own line. And now away from Sedaris for Tuvey to run across, and then it's Daniel Gartner who's come back on the angle as Sedaris gets away from dummy half. That ball came off the boot. The referee saw it. Tuvey makes a break. Innes combines. Ridge is there, and the ball goes loose, and it's away now with Nickau.
Dangerous times there for Cronulla. Manly finding some holes in the middle with some inside passing. It's a sign that the defence isn't working.
I think if Tuvey had have looked to the right-hand side, there was a better option than Matthew Ridge on his left. The let-off there as David Boughton takes the ball towards the halfway line. They are looking very, very good, Manly, at the moment.
It's Greenhill with a tough run. There's another play the ball that's a bit of interfere. Gee, that's a very big hit on Adam Dykes. The ball came loose. It went backwards and Cronulla went on with it. This is the 5th tackle now for Healy. They're trying to get it down into that area where they can worry them with the bomb. This is the first of the variety, but there was no real pressure on Ridge. And the reason being that Healy, again, they've put pressure on the kick. They're taking the time away from Mitch Healy. Manly then, 28 metres out from their own line. And they haven't been down this end of the park very often. And Terry Hill, the ball has come loose. There's a knock on. This will be a very important one for Cronulla Sutherland. They will get the feed and the loose head, if I'm reading it correctly.
And Jeff Tuvey went ballistic when this decision went against the team. The ball definitely went back. It may have even been knocked out by a Cronulla player. How there was a knock on there is, I can't fathom.
So a chance for the Sharks, their first real chance. They'll play out their set, and almost certainly it'll finish with this fellow. And they will go for the kick. What odds all of that? Nathan Long on the second. 15 metres out. Green. Healy. Nickau. 3rd tackle gone. 15 out still. Dykes is 16. Away from Healy. Green. Shows it to Greenhill. And works across to Boughton. Boughton then offloading, and the ball goes down along the ground off the boot of Green. Ridge is there. And Ridge comes back and beyond the 10-metre line. He's 20 metres out for Manly now, and causing them a lot of trouble.
I think the most significant thing here is how calm Manly look in defence. They're really not stretched by Cronulla. Cronulla now already looking for some angles to try and get the way through and kicking before tackle 5, which hasn't been their go all year. Now, pressure can do that to you if you start to get frustrated. Normally, Cronulla aren't frustrated, but they are today.
Kosef then, a long ball out to Menzies. Menzies got around the tackle of Nickau. It just took the feet from under him as Hill offloads, and now it's Cunningham. Cunningham is put away 35 metres out from the Cronulla line, so Manly have got themselves down the other end of the park very quickly. This is the last, and Kosef gets a kick in off the left boot. A couple of his kicks have not delivered, and that is, of course, the job that Cliff Lyons would normally be doing for Manly.
Well, that's been the only poor aspect of Manly's play this afternoon in the first 20 minutes. Making very few mistakes, looking great in defence first 15 minutes, but really the kicking game has let them down as Nathan Long takes it 33 out.
Oh, David Boughton carried the ball high and with not a lot of security. There's Gavin Jones now. He's out there. David Boughton has gone back to the bench. Dykes gets his kick in off the left foot, turning Ridge around and sending the fullback back to his own goal line. Danny Moore is there, and Dykes, the kicker, couldn't tackle more. Long is there with Healy to bring the big State of Origin and Australian winger down. Hopewadi. Lyons is going into the game now, and Gillespie has come off. So now we go back into the centre for Gartner. Tuvey a dummy half, and Jim Sedaris will not be long before he is in the blood bin. He's got blood streaming out of a scalp wound, and the referee and touch judges haven't seen it, but Sedaris is on borrowed time before he visits the doctor. Innes now, 40-metre line. Cronulla's end of the park. It's gone away for Ridge to turn it back in for Carroll, then back for Ridge. And Ridge eventually was able to get a kick in, and Peachy, he comes away with it. What they were doing there, I'm not sure.
No, someone's got to take control out there as far as the kicking game is concerned. And Matthew Ridge is the man. I don't know why he passed it back to Carroll. He wasn't under that much pressure to kick the football.
Paul Green. Nickau. Manly's defence coming up in the And that safe line that we've seen from them, feature of their game has been their defence. Jones. 45 metres out now from the Manly line. 2 points to nil in favour of Manly. A penalty goal kicked by Matthew Ridge after 11 minutes.
The last tackle now. Paul Green, first receiver. He'll put the stabbing kick across towards John Hopewadi, who allows it to, well, takes it before it goes into touch. But defence is what wins these games. Big matches. Make no doubt about it. St George's victory yesterday over North Sydney was based on defence. They got up quickly and closed down the Bears' attack. And Manly are doing a good job of doing the same for the Sharks so far in this game.
There's Sidaris. You can see the back of his head is covered in blood. I'm amazed that it hasn't been picked up. Tierney has gone on. Cunningham is off. Carroll gives the pass. Gartner is with it. And he's picked up and put down there by the Sharks, Adam Dykes. Now Sidaris goes for a run away from dummy half. And he's lost it. And that is a knock on. It's the advantage. And Cronulla Sutherland will play it now.
Well, Matthew
now
Ridge,
touch judge has gone in. I think this would be to do probably with Sidaris.
I think Matthew Ridge will be the man penalised here. He came in with a cheap shot. Although one of the Cronulla players is being called out. Ball goes loose. It's dived on by Adam Dykes. Then Matthew Ridge has come in. It's going to be Craig Greenhill who's penalised. Must have been an earlier infringement.
Yeah, that happened back down on the Manly 20-metre line, Peter, about 60 seconds or more ago. He's come in with a swinging arm in the tackle as the player was down on the ground. And I can't believe they've let play go so long. They're going right back to where I told you, somewhere down around the 20-30. Seemed like an eternity ago.
I think Manly's done a terrific job this first 20 minutes. They couldn't have hoped for a better 20-minute start to set the game up for Cliffy Lyons, who now comes off the bench fresh. And if they can get a little bit of possession at this end of the field, Cliffy Lyons might be the man that can sneak them over.
Steve Roach, your comment on the sidelines.
Yeah, as good as Manly are going, I don't think Cronulla will be too worried about the 2-0 scoreline. Manly have to improve their last play. Every time they get to the last tackle, it's gone to either Cronulla on the full, or they have made a mistake forcing the pass.
This is Big Neil Tierney, formerly with St George. He was with the Magpies, I think, for a season. Craig Innes down the left side of the ground, and Manly now are only 15 metres away from the line. Is this the moment in the game where the try is coming? The first of the game. Lyons and Gartner combining. Gartner not held and tries to make more yardage. He's tackled 10 metres out now. Ridge a dummy half across the head of Tuvey. On for Lyons. Lyons will score. He's only been there a matter of seconds. And Cliffy Lyons scores in the corner.
And it was one-on-one defence missed. Cliff Lyons threw the little dummy. It was 3-on-3. And Lyons has come on. I don't think this is how we expected Lyons to put on the first try. We thought the short ball to one of his other players would be the case. But he's got the big fend out here. And he gets around. I think it's Craig Greenhill, is it? No, in fact, it's Mitch Healy. 6-on-6.
Great try to Cliff Lyons. This is the carbon copy of Canberra Grand Final in '87 on Chris O'Sullivan. There it is. Ducks the head down, fends him off, and away he goes. Still doing it 10 years later, Cliff. The Junius.
Well, the difference between Cliff Lyons and what's happens early in the game is that Manly were coming in for a set of 6 and having the one shot at them. Cliffy Lyons actually set up this play on the previous play. He got Gartner into space, a quick play the ball. Ridge had the option of Tuvey or Lyons to go to, but he knew where the money would be. Lyons 2 plays in a row, and that's what Manly had lacked in the first 10 minutes when they had possession in the opposition quarter. He's an absolute genius, Cliffy Lyons.
Isn't it ironical that down at Shark Park it was a try-saving tackle by Mitch Healy that got the Sharks home that night. And today he's been fended off by Cliff Lyons, and a try has resulted that may well be the difference when we come to the end of this this combat today. Matthew Ridge is on the sideline, 20 metres away. Away it goes, and it's just offline from this master kicker. 6 points to nil, though. Second qualifying semi-final. Manly in front. Cronulla again starting the game. Proving very, very strong, this man, Craig Innes. Manly starting to break free from tackles. Second on this set of 6. Tierney it was. Now Sidaris. Halfway line. Third tackle. And Tierney's done well. He took the second play and he's taken a part in the fourth play. Lyons and Menzies combine. Quick play the ball by Manly. There's a chance on. They got 4 on 1. They're heading for the corner and they put it down.
Oh, gee, they set that up well. Simple but effective football, and Neil Tierney is showing the Manly forwards how to run. He's making 10, 15 metres every time he gets the football. Unfortunately, Terry's hands let him down at the last moment, but this was nearly try time. Some good hands, a good ball, that one, and Terry not keeping his eye on the football.
I know you'd expect it from the national coach, but geez, Bob Fulton's got to be given some refs for the way he's handled interchange early in this game. Cunningham and Gillespie take the steam out of him. Then a big fella like Tierney and the maestro Cliffy Lyons on just at the right time, and they've got Cronulla stretched at the moment.
The problem here for Matthew Ridge is all sorts of trouble there. You can see heavily concussed. Must have got his head in the wrong position to make the tackle. Fair bit of concern on the Manly fullback.
Yeah, this is not how to tackle. He's collected the knees of the Cronulla player, had his head in the wrong position going into it. And he's not too well.
You can just see he's getting his head in front of the man carrying the football. To keep his head on to the side of the man, and he's just taken the knee flush.
Well, is this going to be the turning point? As we look back on this game, Cronulla's down 6 points to nil. We'll just take a quick break while they bring Matthew Ridge around, and we'll be back in a moment. 6-0 the score, Manly over Cronulla. And just looking at the concern, you'd have to think that we might have seen the last of Matthew Ridge for today. Now they're calling for the Medicab. This is what happened to Matthew. He gets his head in front of that right leg of Paul Donaghy. He's taken the knee flush on the cheekbone on the right side of the head.
It's amazing that a player of his standing would try and tackle like that. I mean, you're taught how to tackle when you're about 6 years of age, and that's definitely not the way to go. But Craig Hancock getting instructions, you'd think that he would go onto the wing and hop away to fullback. And as far as the goal kicking is concerned, I might toss the ball to Craig Innes, who's done some kicking when he played for Leeds. He's about the only other option, I think.
Well, as unfortunate as this is, life goes on, and Cronulla have got a much-needed break. They see one of Manly's best players, and certainly a player who organises their defence very well, leave the field. Their goal kickers left the field. They've had a chat amongst themselves and said, well, this is probably what we've been looking for. I think the time off has probably been the most important thing for them, just to regather themselves and set about playing out this last 15 minutes of the first half and keeping in touch with the Manly side.
Apart from being a very good footballer, he's a guaranteed 8 points, 10 points per game, isn't it?
This is an enormous loss for Manly in so many different areas. And for the time being, Craig Hancock, who's about to make this tackle, he has slotted into the fullback position.
So Gavin Jones now rolls the Cronulla effort into Manly's half. Adam Dykes a dummy half still. Coach John Lang turning Treaster and Dykes around as he does so well. To Wiranika. Cronulla just haven't been allowed to slot into the smooth running machine that we've seen from them. And that's all because of Manly's defence, the charge down pressure. Cronulla will be boosted by the loss of Ridge. Eddinghausen centre kicks. Rogers is after it. Yeah, Hancock underneath it.
Well, he's had a fair initiation, hasn't he, Craig Hancock?
Yeah, well taken, Craig, too. As Manly finds some space through Kossoff and Hopewadi. But Hancock's played mainly second grade in the back half of 1996 after suffering a couple of shoulder injuries. It's a big test for him. He's a fine player.
Tell you what, in a forward line that's got some big names, including this bloke Carroll, Neil Tierney is not overawed by the situation. Every time Bob Hawken's thrown him into games that we've been televising, he's been most impressive. Lyons now reaching out low to take it in, and then for Terry Hill to put a kick in. The tackle was at the same time as the kick, and the kick has found the line. Mandatory 10-metre scrum. We'll see Cronulla with the loose head and feed. 10 metres away from their own line. 13 minutes to go, first half.
Well, that's
6-0 the score in favour of Manly. Steve Roach, a report on Matthew Ridge.
I've seen a lot of players concussed in my time, Ray. As you can imagine, he can't even communicate with the trainers. He's that badly done.
You made a lot of players get concussed too, Block.
Well, we just saw Manly come the length of the field in 6 tackles, and there's no doubt they're having much more success getting out of their own danger area. Let's just see this set of 6 from Cronulla, how effective they are in bringing the football out of the danger zone.
Another factor that goes with Matthew Ridge out of the game is his repeated talk from the fullback position. There's no better place on the park to call your defenders into the right spots. And of course, Ridge does that. He's a real chatterbox. And there's just going to be an enormous transition in this Manly side without him. In fact, I think when Matthew Ridge decided to come back from Super League to play with Manly, everybody said to a man, what a difference Ridge has made to Manly. The impact here is enormous. 6-0 in favour of Manly. Cunningham has gone back on. Carroll comes off. Sidaris bounces away from the Cronulla defence, which eventually puts him down. 15 out from their own line.
They have looked better since Matthew Ridge went off. I know it wasn't that long ago. But Cronulla, they have been lifted, and unfortunately that will take some wind out of their sails. A penalty now. We've had very few in the game. They've all gone Manly's way, 3-0 at the moment. And Nathan Long about to be spoken to, along with Richard Barnett.
Yeah, I don't think it's an illusion. I think if you're a Manly supporter, you'd be a little nervous just at this period before half-time, because there is no doubt in the 2 sets of 6 that Cronulla have had since Ridge has left the field that Manly have looked a little more nervous in defence.
Well, not surprisingly, they took the tap from the centre of the ground, and Lyons and Tuvey, they combined, and Tuvey is put down on the halfway line. Manly then looking for a quick play of the ball, which they got from their captain, Danny Moore, put down by Barnett on the 40-metre line, and Manly now a wide and very deep right across the ground. 6-0 with about 11 minutes of the first half remaining now. For Tuvey to push it away to the left. Lyons, Gardner, Menzies. Hancock puts it down and then went back and recovered. It was knocked backwards, and he's on the 40-metre line. Just got it in time as the flying feet of Cronulla came through. Tierney gets it down for Tuvey, and 5 tackles gone, 32 metres away from the Cronulla line. As Sidaris tries to get a kick in, picked up by one of his teammates, but the referee has ordered a knock on. He's ordered a knock on.
Well,
Which indicates that he hasn't struck the ball with the boot before it hit the ground. That's exactly what he's ruled.
Very interesting to see what the kicking game is like from Manly in the second half, because I'm sure that Bob Fulton will be extremely unhappy with what he's seen in the first 40 minutes. I assume he will tell one person to take on responsibility in that department.
Nicker looking for support. Picks it up with Dykes. Dykes put down on the Manly 40-metre line. Green. Davidson. 5 tackles gone. And Davidson has gone with it himself. Puts a kick in. It's very deep. It's bounced exactly the way they would want it to bounce. And now they're trapped in goal. Well, it's turned out to be a freak of a kick from Davo.
Oh, Les Davidson, big Bundy. Tapped the ball forward, put the kick in, got the bounce, and when he did line up the man who was about to take it, fortunately he missed. There's the kick, nice and high, bounces up. Have a look at him go. He gets Hancock on the way, and that was a good thing for John Hopewadi.
His last chip and chase was in under 12s. He couldn't have done one of the more important time now in the big one. And things are turning towards Cronulla. You can feel it here. The tide is turning, and Cronulla have got a tremendous opportunity to get back into the game with only 9 minutes before half-time.
If only Les could have heard what people were thinking when he kicked it. Now Green working off Nicow, takes it to the 20-metre line. It was like an echo. Goose, what did you do that for? Greenhill, chance for Cronulla. 8 3/4 from half-time. They're down 6-0. Green turns it back. Treaster smothered away by Kossoff. Healy then. Davidson again. Oh, good ball. Treaster. Green. Then away. It's David Boughton back on. 5 tackles gone. Boughton looked for a penalty, and he slowed the ball down. That was stupid. The kick, though, has been taken by Danny Moore, and he came down in the field of play. Good work by Danny Moore.
Great work by Danny Moore. He'd have dreamt about that all week. He knew that Cronulla would be coming at him with bombs. He's probably seen 1,000 of those in his sleep, and he's got it right on the day. Tremendous take.
Just on that point with David Boughton. Oh, here's Gartner with another long run for Manly. Then standing and offloading for Sidaris. Penalty goes to Manly, is it? No, it's a blood bet. Yeah, Sidaris.
Again, something Cronulla needed. Some momentum going Manly's way. As Sidaris leaves the field. Tremendous take from Danny Moore. Good bust from Daniel Gartner.
I'm just wondering who they'll bring on for Sidaris, whether it's Hasler or Scott Fulton or even David Gillespie.
He's a genius. How he can predict, it's just unbelievable.
Finger on the pulse.
That's the best call. Turvey will go straight to dummy half, obviously. Kosef to first receiver, still pushing lines out into that 5-8 role, and they haven't lost a lot there either.
Manly starting to get it back together again after they were jolted by the loss of Ridge. Lions went for a drop goal from long range. Rogers.
Oh, high shot there from Cliff Lyons.
Brings a roar from the crowd. Rogers knew that he had a chance of getting a penalty, but at least he got up and played the ball quickly. Now, this will bring the penalty, will it? The touch judges come in for the tackle of Lyons, I suspect,
yes,
on Rogers.
It's Cronulla's first penalty in the match as well.
It's going to be Cunningham.
It's obviously the tackle that we're dealing with at the moment and not the preceding tackle. It's this tackle on Treaster.
So there's nothing wrong with that one.
I can't believe that. I would have thought they would have pinched Cliffy Lyons rather than Owen Cunningham for the tackle immediately prior. Cronulla then with Green and long passing, very low passing, and Eddinghausen gets it away for Rogers, but the defence is up. right up in his face. 6 minutes from half-time. Boughton did well to get it off. Healy turns it in. And that is Pearce. Davidson again. 30-metre line. Centre of the ground. Teresa. Pearce one more time. Boughton. They're still not really worrying the Manly line. Is that Bateman on now? Green with a deft kick, but More's not done. Well, I was about to say he's taken it beautifully, diving into the ball, but then he's put it down, and it'll be a scrum with a loose-headed feed for Cronulla.
A well-placed kick. He went for the space rather than just putting it up anywhere. He put the pressure on Moore to come in, a diving catch, and couldn't take it.
A good variation there from Cronulla, and no surprise to see them get Tawera Nikau onto the field as soon as they've got some attacking chance here. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Nikau could be very dangerous in this situation.
Healy then. 5 metres out from the line. Boughton. It's a very optimistic play to try and crack Manly in those circumstances. Long ball from Green for Peachy, who comes across. Delivers the short pass. Donaghy. Peachy. Green. Eddinghausen. Nikau. He'll look for Eddinghausen. Oh! Eddinghausen nearly had it. But now Manly have got it. The Lions in trouble.
Well, I think it's his team's in trouble. I think this is a play from an experienced player. He's just settling things down here. He can realise there's only 3.5 minutes to go before half-time. They've been under a lot of pressure. Just to regroup. Jimmy Sidarius back on the field, looking more like a spaceman than a footballer with that headgear. Great break.
Daniel Gartner striding out. 35 metres from his own line. Sidarius. Tubi. Kosef. Menzies. Tierney. Bit of a Houdini. Sidarius away. Gartner again. And put down by Nikau.
Got Tierney off. It's his day.
Lions. Kickers for onside chasers. And then it's down for David Peachy. Terry Hill pushing him back.
Yeah, you just can't buy experience. Cliffy Lyons.
He's got a Manly knock on here. That's a little bit of a let-off. The pass was touched by the Manly marker here, Terry Hill, and then touched by Alan Bateman, so it will be a Cronulla feed.
Just saying on Cliffy Lyons, he feigned injury at one end of the field and then instrumental in working them up the paddock. Now we find Cronulla 10 yards out from their own line under pressure. Great experience by Cliffy Lyons. He knew his side needed a spell and just to regroup there. Cronulla going very wide with their attack. Now most sides have found this season that Manly cover that up very well. I think they're better served with fellas like Dykes and Treesta and Green working around and chipping away in the middle of the field, trying to work over those bigger Manly forwards. Going wide just doesn't seem to work against the Eagles.
This is the centre, Donaghy. Solid tackle on him. Nathan Long. Lions taking him, and again a groan from the crowd. Treesta going down the blind side, and Lyons goes in again, and this time the whistle has sounded. Well, Cliff has been flirting with danger.
Well, he's looked a man on a mission. That's about his third head-high tackle. They could have gone in for probably the previous one as well.
That's Neil Tierney being dispatched to the blood bin. He's only been back on a matter of seconds. The claret flowing in the front row for Manly. As Treesta comes back, shot from Lyons, clumsy.
And that's where Tierney, the head clash with the Cronulla player, so that's why he's off.
I think he was ducking, though, the Cronulla player. Cliff Lyons never raised that arm, but it did get him high.
Tap taken by Treaster down on the 30-metre line. Greenhill held by Sedaris and Carroll. Treaster sweeps it back onto the blind side. Green's pass comes down for Peachy. That tackle has hurt David Peachy. He's hunched over in back play as Nathan Long prepares to play it. 15 metres out from the line. Now across for Healy. Healy dummies on the outside to Eddinghausen and turns it inside for Donaghy.
Danny Moore would want to get ready, or John Hopewadi, because another 1 or 2 rucks that's coming their way.
Green then, pushing it across for Nickau. 5 tackles gone as it's played by Nickau. Then Green. There goes the right foot kick. And out. Manly have saved it with Craig Hancock. Great take by the Manly veteran.
Oh, he's done a great job since Matthew Ridge went off injured. Craig Hancock, he said, hasn't played much football in the top grade this season. It's as good a take as you'll see under pressure there. Beautiful stuff from Hancock.
The siren sounds and referee David Manson calls a halt. The first half that has seen Manly score 1 try by Cliff Lyons seconds after he came into the game. Matthew Ridge had earlier kicked a penalty goal. Of course, midway through that first half, we had Matthew Ridge taken from the field with severe concussion. Here's a break, then we're back with Peter Sterling at the Sydney Football Stadium. Manly has suffered a major blow with Matthew Ridge going into a tackle and came out of it with severe concussion. Manly were just doing so well at that time, and then the cohesion seemed to fade and Cronulla started to edge back into it. There's no doubt in my mind they'd been completely overshadowed by Manly to the point in time when Ridge was injured. Cliff Lyons came on. He gave them that little injection just prior to the Ridge injury, and Lyons is the try scorer. Ridge had kicked a penalty early in the game at the 11th minute. Cronulla yet to put points on the board. Steve Roach in just a matter of moments to find out what has happened at half-time. As Manson blows time on, and we're into the second half now. We're 40 minutes away from knowing who will play St George next Sunday. Grand Final day in Sydney and Brisbane, live from 10 o'clock with all the football and all the excitement of the big day. Kosef driven down by Andrew Eddinghausen. Carroll and then Gardner.
A welcome sight for Cronulla is David Peachy back on the field. As pointed out, he limped off just on the stroke at half-time with the recurrence of a hamstring injury. Here he is taking the ball on the first bounce.
Oh, he's lost it. Menzies will score under the post.
Well, he limped about 3 strides before dropping that ball, Peach, and I think it sent a signal of panic to him. The ball's come out in the tackle, but you could see as he came across the field, he wasn't confident in that leg. Ball in the one hand, and a soft try for Manly, but a perfect start to the second half.
Gee, it was a very poor ball carry by David Peachy, wasn't it? He's got there under some difficulty. Quite amazing this. He swaps it over the left hand. He's got it in his left, just in the left hand, and with the impact of the tackle, it had to come out, and it flew out.
Oh, what a good tackle from Jeff Turvey, though. Cliff Lyons taking charge of the kicking game. And from here, Cronulla players running back thinking, oh, well, there's no drama. Dave will bring it back nicely, but a strong tackle, and Steve Menzies, like stealing lead off blind chooks, straight onto the sticks.
Yeah, great work, plenty of jubilation from Manly. I'd like to have seen him leave David Peach alone on his way back to the line.
So the conversion successful. Manly 12 points to 0 over Cronulla now. Restart again by Cronulla. Oh, what a blunder. What a blunder.
It's unbelievable when that happens. They've dropped it right in front of Stephen Menzies. It couldn't have been David Gillespie or someone like that. And it always happens when you make a mistake. You pay the full penalty at this end of the season.
One thing that Bob Fulton wouldn't have been saying to Manly at half-time, just wait for David Peachey to drop the ball in front of our uprights. Steve Roach on the sideline.
Yeah, well, as you can see, Ray, Matthew Ridge still hasn't come back for the second half.
Now Manly's coughed up the ball, and it's been towed down the ground, but it's out on the full. Stephen, I'm sorry.
It's all right, mate. I was expecting it. As you can imagine, Matthew Ridge will not be back for the second half. Manly coach Bobby Fulton pretty happy. He said he was really happy with their brilliant chase game in the first half to put the Cronulla kickers off. He's just a little bit worried about Davidson's offloads. He said a lot of his players were going for the shoulder charge. He wants his players to wrap him up. He said, look, we've got to wait. We can't force the pass when we make the break. Let's wait till the next tackle for Cronulla. Johnny Lang was a little bit worried about their kicking game. He said every time that they do kick downfield, it always goes to a Manly player on the full. Let's try and find some open spaces. He said, stay awake at marker and don't ball watch Lions. When Lions has the football, let's make a commitment.
Steve Roach on the sidelines there with his half-time summation of what the coaches were saying.
I'll tell you one thing about Manly. They are tremendous when they've got a little bit of leeway on the scoreboard. They are a completely different football team. To beat them, you've got to keep it close and keep them nervous. But with a 12-point latitude here, I expect them to really open this game up and make Cronulla chase them around.
Phil Gould joining us in commentary today, the New South Wales coach and the Sydney City coach, twice winner of the Grand Final.
How good's it going?
Lions now back in for Menzies and then down for Gartner. Gartner away from Pearce, got a ball away. Craig Hancock got it forward down to Lyons, and Manson was directly in line with it. He was ordered the turnover.
They'll chance their arm when they're confident, the Manly. They love playing with this sort of lead on the scoreboard. Cronulla are under a lot of pressure now to hold on and get themselves back in the game. The big thing for Cronulla is that they only have to score once before full time to keep themselves in it to full time. They can't worry about the 12-point differential. They have to be next to score. That means aiming up in defence and being positive with the ball.
Doesn't surprise me, Steve Roach, that Bobby Fulton would compliment his team on their charge down pressure. Cronulla's kickers have never been given enough time to put in a pinpoint bomb, have they?
Well, that's what he was talking about before the game. I was talking to Bobby Fulton in the tunnel. Very important for them to match Cronulla's enthusiasm in the first 20 minutes, and he was very proud that they did that.
Fatty, with no Matthew Ridge out there, would they consider a field goal at 12-0? And if so, who would that be?
Oh, Cliffy would be the man, no doubt about it. There's a good touch finder there. Yeah, I'm sure they will, Pete. They're not a great field goal side. You know, Bob Fulton doesn't really approve of them, but in this situation, when you're half an hour away from a grand final.
And I do think he would believe that if Manly can score next, whether it's 1 or 6 points, that will be enough for them to win the game.
Well, this is a very good crowd, as I indicated to you. The exact figure is 40,525. Biggest of the Qantas final series, 40,525. So that is about 1,500 short of capacity. It'll give you a kingdom to find a bookmaker sometimes, but there wasn't one willing in this broadcasting box. Now Kossoff. The monies they earn, and they wouldn't let you on for something. Terry Hill.
Get on to Mike Castle Hill, of course.
Now Daniel Gartner to the halfway, and the ball support overrunning it. 6 more tackles though. Kosef and Lyons. Kosef again. Now Menzies. Peachy's injured. Tuvey. Cunningham. Hurdling fallen players. Sedaris. They're looking dangerous. Menzies. 2 metres out. Lions. Same play there with Innes. Was ready to be put together, as was the case a fortnight ago. Sedaris and Kosef and Tuvey to the air. Barnett was beautiful. Great take by Richard Barnett. Penalty to Cronulla. He's got Manly for not standing directly in front.
Cronulla have done well to weather that storm. It looked like a try was brewing. The pass out have found Craig Hancock earlier. Before they received 6 again, he would have been difficult to stop, despite the fact he still had 40 to go. The back rowers really starting to come into their own. Daniel Gartner is breaking the line at will on occasions.
Significant point was Cliff Lyons handled 3 times in the set. Cronulla have gone wide on every occasion now. They've got 12 behind on the board, and that's really suiting Manly's style of defence. I really think they need to chip away in close and turn the ball back inside. Manly covering them up very easily on the big spreads.
Good yards by Nathan Long. Green putting it out there for Healy to go on for Donahue. A number of times the ball is in the hands of Andrew Eddinghausen. You only need one hand to count. Jones. Now he's got it with him. Tuvey pulls him down.
They're not going to go round Manly today.
Healy with a little bit of time. Now let's see. There's a player taken out in the back. Nickow's been taken out. There's a Manly player injured. Nickow then unloaded for Green on the left foot. And referee Manson has got a touch judge in. It'll be the report of the collision between Sedaris and Nickow.
I'm just wondering who took who out. John laying on the sideline, barking instructions.
Let's just have a look here as Mitch Healy put the kick up, as Ray pointed out, with a little bit of time. Sedaris has gone completely out of his way to get in the road of Nickow. Nickow grabbed him. Sedaris should be penalised. He's going to go against him, against Nickow.
Well, I think in some ways that's justice. I mean, Cronulla's chasing game in recent weeks, it's been alerted by most coaches that they send 2 or 3 chases after the ball and only 1 jumper. And they do a lot of interfering work chasing their kicks. It's Peachy and Barnett coming from behind that usually catch, but other players going forward and knocking defenders out of the way, and no doubt the referees have been alerted to that this week.
Yeah, but what about on that occasion, Gus? Didn't Sedaris go out of his way to get in front of Nickow?
Well, he never intentionally tried to stop Nickow, and that's one thing that Cronulla have been doing with their bombs. It's a very successful tactic, but certainly referees have woken up to it.
I tend to agree with Peter, though. I thought the picture showed clearly Sedaris moved across into the path of Nickow.
Mate, they're 10, 15 metres away from where the football was coming down.
But you're allowed to protect your fullback. Surely there's got to be some protection for the fullback.
Not by making a deliberate obstruction to an oncoming player.
He can move in the direction of the ball.
Exactly, he can.
Gartner. Green coming away with the loose reds. Healy now. Green. Peachy. Pearce. Dykes. Jones. Something's got to come for Cronulla, and shortly, if they're to get back. They've come from behind to win in the final series before. But at the moment, it's looking like the Manly nemesis will ride roughshod over them again. Dykes puts in a grubbing kick that has gone dead in goal.
This is the best defensive team that I've probably seen in football. They are so calm. No matter what happens or what Cronulla do, they turn the ball inside or throw it wide. They just hold their line, and they're so athletic in the back row that they cover up little gaps or what could be little gaps very, very quickly. This is a very well-drilled defensive football team.
When Cronulla do go wide, Phil, they're running sideways and just falling into Manly's hands, aren't they?
Yeah, they've got to put more on it going wide. I don't think they can go around Manly, and they've really got to chip away on the inside. And unfortunately, Green and Hurley at the moment just aren't on their game.
This is Craig Innes. In fact, Steve Roach was indicating to me along the line that he wanted to talk about that. The normally cool, calm and collected Cronulla, they're panicking now.
Well, it's first time in the semi-final series I've seen them frustrated, and 2 points, the Jim Sedaris thing first, and then that set of 6 was very sloppy from this Cronulla side. As we've already said, the Manly defence too good. They're gone, Cronulla.
Lions now crossing the halfway line. Back for Tuvey to make a sprint. And the little fella gets a pass away. That's no knock on. Big David Gillespie. He gets a pass away, and it's gone to ground. Cronulla Sutherland come up with it.
Well, John Hopewate, he couldn't take the ball. Gillespie kept it on the toe. It was no knock on as Cronulla try and bring it out through Richard Barnett. He gets back slammed. But Tuvey, a wow of a game also.
Greenhill. Just about being the best of the Cronulla forwards, Craig Greenhill. Mightn't have been flash football, as I often refer to it, but my goodness, he's taken it up and he's put his body on the line. Now Green, a chip and chase. Oh, miraculous take there by one of the Manly back rowers, Gartner. Menzies has wrestled down. They're just so athletic. Hancock. Gartner coming in as a third tackle. Want to be careful. This is Tierney. Kosef around the back of Cunningham for Lions, and then Menzies. Kosef down the blind side. Nicker back up for Peachy. Boughton. No, there's just nothing there. Search if you may, but there's just no cracks. Have they been through them?
No, not at the moment. Still, there's 25 minutes to go. I mean, it only takes an all. They're not going to do it with making mistakes in their own half of the field. Cronulla normally very mentally tough. They just go through their rhythm and through their game plan regardless of the situation. They have shown signs of being rattled here today. And I just don't think Green and Hurley are dominating the play enough to get this side moving. Manly finding chinks on the outside the whole time through Lions. But Cronulla have just got to hang in there. I mean, it may seem like a difficult period at the moment, but we're playing sudden death here. The loser leaves the country. You've just got to hang in there and hope maybe a bomb or a grubber kick later in the game gets you within striking distance with time left on the clock. These semi-finals are never over till they're over, but Manly are looking the goods at the moment.
Yeah, just had some statistics. They've only cracked the line once. Manly 7 times they've been through the Cronulla line. Ooh, Cunningham. Met there by Dykes and Boughton. And now Lions working it, looking for Hancock and finding him. Hancock is 8 metres away from the Cronulla line. Sedaris. Tierney. He's done his job today, Neil Tierney. Tuvey. Lions on the bounce. Menzies out wide. He kicks ahead looking for Innes. Rogers has done magnificently for Cronulla, but he can't get it back.
I know, it's all the Eagles at the moment. Bounces the ball going their way now. They took the chance, they ran the football. Rogers is hurt. He's down in the in goal. Steve Menzies, a deft kick, left footer. And the follow-up from Terry Hill, Craig Ennis. And eventually the defence came.
Did you see that play earlier from Cliffy Lyons? I mean, we all saw it and we just sat here in amazement. Across the back of the ruck, showed the ball on the inside, and everyone in the ground thought that he'd let go of the football, and then held it up within a matter of 2 strides for Hancock, who nearly forced his way over. It's touch football time for Cliffy.
Makes you wonder when...
So 56 minutes gone. Manly 12, Cronulla yet to score. Line dropouts. On the bounce, Craig Hancock. Good long kick with the breeze assisting it. Hancock was able to get through the first line of defence, but Nathan Long is there to hold him down. Now Tierney. Taken under by 3 Cronulla defence men. Zadaris. Cross F. $12-0 then, 2 tries to 0, 12 points to 0. Manly over Cronulla, and Manly, it seems, on their way to the grand final meeting with St George. Lions, a question mark on the pass, it is forward.
Well, Cliffy's not happy with that, and I don't think he should be. I don't know what the replay shows. He held that up. Tuvey did a great job of holding up the slide defence, got the ball to Lyons, and Lyons leaves this right to the last minute, bang. I don't think that's forward. He's not happy, the maestro. I think as a ball player, you know if you've thrown one forward or you haven't, and that wasn't for show. Cliffy Lyons thought that was fair.
They've looked like scoring at this end of the field for quite a while now. I'd be kicking a field goal as we've seen Matt Rogers limp up the tunnel. Psychologically, it would be an enormous play to Cronulla to know that they had to score 3 times in this match. I just think the 1 point at the moment might lead to 6 or 12 later on.
Well, it's an interesting statistic. Manly with 7 line breaks. They've really only come up with 1 try from that line break. The other one, the drop ball from Peachy. So that would be a concern to Bob Fulton as well, that they're just not finishing off what they're creating.
Dykes then. Just beyond his own 40-metre line. 12 points in arrears. 21 minutes left to go. Not impossible, but it's got to happen next for them. Danny Moore back on his own 20-metre line. Terry Hill. I realise that it's stating the obvious that they must score next, Cronulla. You can see Manly's confidence. It has been aided by that try that came from Menzies quite unexpectedly. They're playing very confident football, and Sidaris exhibits that. Down to the 30-metre line, and they go on the blind side now. Lions puts a kick back into the centre. Cronulla jumpers outnumbering Manly, but they knock on. They're scooped up by Menzies and Danny Moore. Danny Moore scores for Manly. Well, there were 6,000 Cronulla players against 1 Steve Menzies, and Manly have scored.
Yeah, forget the 1 point. There's Hasler knows that the game's over. A little kick from Cliff Lyons. Again, it didn't look to be a particularly effective one, but David Peachy, he drifts across. Not a lot of reaction from his teammates. And then Gavin Jones gets in the way. It was just a debacle between the two. And Menzies, as always, on the spot, slips the ball to Danny Moore, who takes it around. Lyons.
Well, that's shoddy play from Cronulla. If you have a look at some of their defenders, they just stand around and do absolutely nothing. They leave it all to David Peachy and Gavin Jones, the big prop. They couldn't handle it. Paul Donaghy stood around. Barnett was standing there doing nothing. Look, they're all just doing absolutely nothing to help. And in the end, perseverance from Steve Menzies. He chased the football. Paul Green in the background. So that was it for Cronulla.
Well, it was just like semi-finals. You can't have that mix-up between Jones and Peachy, as we saw on that occasion.
So Craig Innes is the new goal kicker for Manly, and he converts with his second shot at goal. 18 points to nothing. John Lang is a worried coach. Cronulla. They'll be having nightmares about their performance here today. They promise so much, and it has been an abject failure. Hopawati. Carroll playing the ball for Manly. Lions giving it away for Sedaris, and Tuvey is now, oh, that's high on him. Eddinghausen it was. Not called by the referee or touch judges. Tierney like a rampaging bull. And then Hancock, who came on to replace Ridge, and he's done a good job. Held down by Donaghy. Menzies having a big game now. Menzies. The moment Manly put a little gap between them and their opposition, Menzies is starting to have a very good time. Eventually, Sedaris puts a kick in. Bateman.
It's a very ordinary part of the afternoon where you go from competing to just trying to hang on. And unfortunately, Cronulla are in that phase at the moment. All hope of victory is lost, and that starts to play on your mind. And really, it's only Manly playing with the football, and you trying to hang on. You look up, there's 17 minutes to go on the clock. You're 18 points behind.
The problem here for Jeff Tuvey in attempting that tackle. He's copped a head knock. Des Hasler hasn't been on the field at all so far in this qualifying final. Comes to the sideline and will get some sort of ovation. A nasty cut over the right eye there for Jeff Tuvey.
You've got to keep admiring the courage of this Manly side. Look at that. Not the perfect technique for anyone watching, but I think they've had about 4 players go to blood bins. They're really putting their head in there today and putting their bodies on the line. It'll show in the number with stitches tonight after the game. But that's what semi-finals is all about, sudden death football. Terry Hill too, he's been in agony all week with that ankle injury, but it's an old saying, in your most important battle you throw your last man in, and Manly have done that today, and they've all thrown themselves into the action.
So the captain is coming off to get some repairs done. While all that's happening, Des Hasler goes on. Let me have a look at some lower grade results. Reserve grade, Cronulla 24, Illawarra 8. And of course Cronulla will play Auckland next weekend in the grand final. At 12:10, you'll see that live in Sydney and Brisbane. Check your local guides in other centres. That's the reserve grade grand final. You'll see them all, the 3 of them, the President's Cup, Parramatta against the Crushers.
Well, Manly have just bumped up the average age of their team, putting Desi out there alongside Cliff Lyons. David Gillespie on the bench, of course. Right in saying Hasler is the oldest competitor in the Optus Cup at the moment.
And he never actually got any time in the game against the Roosters, Des, and so this is his first taste of finals football in '96.
Last season, Manly sort of limped towards the grand final. They had narrow wins over Cronulla and Newcastle. I think Bob Fulton would like them to finish this 16 minutes off for their second chance at the big one in 2 years. They didn't come up on grand final day last year, and the signs were there well before grand final time that they were feeling the pinch. But if they can finish this last 15 minutes off well, that'll be a great boost for next week's semi-final.
This is the last tackle for Cronulla. Will their #1 weapon strike? Eddinghausen puts it high and batted down by Peachy, but it went straight down to Manly's John Hopawati.
They've defended it that well all day, haven't they, Manly? The big thing for Cronulla has been this kick and chase, but they've really handled it well, the Eagles.
Of course, at this time last year, we were sitting back watching Canterbury Bankstown come from the bottom half of the top 8, and they were smashing their opponents, led by Dean Pay.
They had a great September. I think it's the thing with this final 8. It's really 2 competitions now. Everyone who makes the 8 has a chance if Des Hasler makes a half break, but you know, you can just be a good September team, and the 22 rounds mean nothing.
Here's Manly again on the charge. Innes, here's the call from Hopawati. Bateman makes the tackle. 15 metres out from the line. Lyons. Kosef. Menzies. And off the hand there of Terry Hill, it goes into touch. I'm just wondering, while reflecting about Canterbury, whether St George are about to do a Canterbury.
Watch this work from Cliffy Lyons here. Not easy to do by anyone, but certainly for Cliffy Lyons, he makes it look so easy across the field, ball behind the back of his opponent. He's having a field day out there. No doubt Fulton will start off the bench with him again next week, but he certainly had a major impact on this football game from the time he took the field.
Barnett down the left of the ground.
That would be interesting next week in the grand final. Both coaches will opt to do something similar off the bench. No doubt that David Waite will start with Jeff Hardy in the side and bring Nathan Brown off the bench. At the same time that Lyons will be coming on, coaches will be looking for them to have an impact on the attacking aspect of their game.
Peachy then. Greenhill. He's going to get it back. The offload away from Tierney now. Hancock pulled down by Nicow. Menzies. 18-0. Manly rolling on towards the grand final. Twice they played Cronulla in grand finals. 73 and 78. They came out on top in both of those encounters. Put Cronulla out of the final series last year. And though Cronulla has won 2 of the last 3 encounters with Manly, when it comes to the business end, it seems that this club, Manly, is very much the Waterloo of Cronulla Sutherland. So the scrum will go down just inside the Cronulla 20-metre line now. Paul Green back on the bench with Dr. Peter Maloof. Hasn't missed a game since his debut in round 1 of 94.
Yeah, this is game number 70 in a row. Paul Green, Rothman's medalist. Unfortunately, disappointment to finish off 1996.
Across the ground and wide very quickly, and now the flying Eddinghausen got his kick back into the centre of the park, but Cunningham has done amazingly well to get back there. Moore comes away with it. Sedaris offloading for Gardner. Kosef again. Innes. 11.5 minutes left in the match. Hasler. Lyons. Now Terry Hill. Moore. Menzies.
He's done a great job today, Terry Hill, as has Craig Innes. I think Innes has been all over Eddinghausen. And Terry Hill, he probably shouldn't have played this game, but his own guts and will to win got him out there. He's been in pain all day. The needle's probably starting to wear off.
I think it's important to notice too that Cliff Lyons has played down the left-hand side of the field, probably shielding Terry Hill from a lot of the workload in attack. They've played towards Innes on the left-hand side of the field, had great success. Terry Hill, if he can get through this last 10 minutes without further injury, will be much better next week for the grand final.
The report on Matthew Ridge, of course, is vital. Manson just watching this play before he administers the rule.
Yeah, I would think if the option is available to Bob Fulton, that Terry Hill would come off for the last 10 minutes. The game is as good as won. I know that they've lost Matthew Ridge, so the interchange is a little bit knocked around, but and Jeff Tuvey, of course, it's a beautiful shiner there, the right eye, but the capacity was there. I'd be getting Terry off.
Manly then. Already with an 18-0 scoreboard. Throwing it across the ground to the right wing for Danny Moore. Looking for more points. 2 tries in the second half have come off Cronulla mistakes. And that's the game, though. As Gartner takes it to within about 11 metres of the line. Sedaris Tierney. Lions for the drop goal, looking for 19-0. Manson says no goal. Cliff won't be happy with that. He wouldn't have had more time, or couldn't have had more time. And an uncustomary miss by Cliffy Lyons, given the amount of time that he had. So 18-0 remains the scoreboard. That is Bateman now. Healy. Ooh, that's off the head. Now Gartner. 45 metres out from the Cronulla line. Sedaris around Kosef. Bouncing away from Healy. Back into the hands of Menzies. Now they've got 3-on-2. Gartner brushes away. Menzies is on his way. Menzies over the line and across.
Well, these two back rowers, how good are they? Daniel Gartner, Steve Menzies. Gartner's had an absolute blinder, and Menzies has really come into his own in the second half. 22 blot. And Daniel Gartner, he makes breaks so easily.
I've got to give a big rap to this bloke too. I think, for mine, I think Sedaris has been Manly's best this afternoon. Some beautiful dummy half work. He went one side, he came back the other. Daniel Gartner had plenty to do. He burst through 3 defenders, and Steve Menzies backing up. He's the next Terry Lamb of the next decade. Always in the right spot because he wants to be where the football is.
I think you've got to give Manly's defence another rap. This try has come from their defence. Every time Cronulla go wide now, it's frustration because there's little on offer. They've come up with turnovers in their last 3 sets of 6, trying to force a way through this great Manly defence, and it just plays on your mind. Then on the other side of the ball, you've got these rampaging back rowers coming at you, and Menzies in full flight. How they'd love to see him scoring tries next week in the big one. They've just been too good, the Sea Eagles. Great discipline in defence, great technique. They've given Cronulla no penalties, no cheap yardage. Total domination today.
And Craig Innes has been given some very easy kicks at goal. Matthew Ridge is back on the bench. Very groggy looking Matthew Ridge, but obviously the doctors and the staff have allowed him back to watch the final minutes of this comprehensive victory by Manly. And there's a knock on there.
Where?
Next Sunday, of course, as I've told you a couple of times today, it'll be live across Sydney and Brisbane, the grand final. Terry Hill finished his job for the day. And Manly will breathe a sigh of relief that he's come through apparently okay. 10 o'clock, the live coverage of grand final day next Sunday. That's the starting time. Hancock into the back line. Menzies, he's everywhere. Hancock again. And then Innes. Off the feet of Hopewadi. No knock on. Peachy turns it around.
Steve Menzies has actually slotted into the centre position for Terry Hill. Once again showing his versatility. As Les Davidson takes it over the halfway line. Pretty good run that one inside. Let's tackle on the 40-metre line. With just on 5 minutes to go.
Healy. Green. Oh, that bounce is perfect for Cronulla, but there's still a chance on as it came off the feet of Paul Green. But Manly
they'll continue what's become a very big trend now in rugby league. Manly coming to their second grand final in a row. We saw Balmain 88-89, Penrith 90-91, Canberra 90-91. Here's a turnover to Cronulla. St George came here twice, 92-93, so too did Brisbane. Canterbury came here twice to win on their second occasion, and Manly get a second opportunity after failing next year. It's just the way it goes. You have to be here and lose one probably to come back and win one.
Adam Dykes wrapped up by Cunningham, 10 metres out from the line. Are Cronulla going to get some points? Eddinghausen's a metre from the line. Green. Nickau on Hopewadi, and Hopewadi got the job done with the help of Craig Innes.
That's pride in your defence line. I mean, we've given their defence some raps, but you're 24-0 in front. 3 minutes to go on the clock. You could be forgiven for thinking, well, I'll keep myself fresh for next week's game, but not so Manly. They've got great pride in their try line. They don't let anyone in there cheaply, and right till the death they'll fight to protect it.
3.5 minutes now to Manly officially going onto that grand final program. As Lyons leaves out Gartner and picks up Hopewadi running down the left flank. And he's clutching at a hamstring, Hopewadi. Gillespie. Gartner again. Lyons. Lyons trying to do something with the football on Green. He wasn't going to be guilty of ball watching. Took the Manly number 6 out of it. And I guess that's what you've got to do with Cliffy Lyons. It's just that Cronulla probably hasn't done it as much as they would have liked to. As Lyons finds the line now, back towards the Cronulla 30-metre line. Terry Hill's ankle and Jeff Tuvey's right eye. Healy. Hancock is up in the line. Hopewadi's going back to fullback. This is Long. And now Treaster for Green. And Healy. Nickau. Eddinghausen. Bateman. Right on the halfway line. 1.5 minutes. Manly 24. Cronulla, no score. Just about everybody thought it was going to be a tight one. Toss of the coin. Long's kick rebounding off a player who didn't play at the ball, so it's play on for Hasler. Kosef. 21 tackles and 10 hit-ups for Kosef. Gartner, an enormous statistic alongside him. 25 tackles, 25 hit-ups for Gartner. Meaning that there were very few minutes in the game that Daniel Gartner wasn't involved. 40-metre line. Cronulla's end of the park. Dying seconds of the second elimination semi-final. Hasler and Lyons, and then a knock-on by Gartner. Proving that he is human. Still admonishing himself, even though he would know that he's played a marvellous role. Blood bin ordered on Kosef, another Manly player requiring some stitches. Kosef, Sidaris, Tuvey. Green comes away from the scrum base. This will be the last play. And was it knocked on by Menzies? Was it knocked on by Hasler? It doesn't matter, the siren has sounded. Manly are in the grand final to play St George. 24 points to 0 they've won in front of a crowd just over 40,000.